If you've never been scammed on an online marketplace or you don't know anyone who has, consider yourself lucky. Such scams are extremely frequent, ever-evolving, and unfortunately quite successful and efficient for the scammers. If you want to learn more, then stay with us and take this journey into the land of mammoths and Neanderthals to get a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of these scams. My name is Jakub Souček. I am a senior malware researcher at ESET, where I currently lead our ransomware research team. And I'm joined by my colleague, Radek Jizba, who was at the core of this, let's call it a side project of ours. First things first, let's look at online marketplace scams in numbers. There is a BCDO survey from 2024 that conducted a survey among about 700 users of online marketplaces and found out that about 40% of them were, in their experience, targeted with such a scam. A Statista report reports that the success rate of this sort of scam remained consistently above 70% since around 2015. Forbes reports that the average loss in this sort of scam is a little bit over $100 US. And TSB, a UK bank, did sort of a survey on Facebook Marketplace, and in their experience found that about 1/3 of the advertisements they investigated might very likely be scams. So these are pretty depressing numbers, if you ask me. So how is it possible that these scams are so common and effective? Before we answer that, one final note before the terminology for today. So the victims in this sort of scams are called mammoths by the scammers, which is like a common Russian slang for someone you want to quote-unquote screw over. So reversing the logic, we will call them Neanderthals, and the tool that they use, Telekopye, which is a portmanteau of telegram and kopyo, which is a Russian word for spear. And without any further ado, let's meet Telekopye. So it is a Telegram bot discovered by ESET in 2023 and being used since around 2015. It is designed mainly to automate the whole scanning process, generate phishing web pages, emails, messages, and so on, mainly web pages. And it is also used to coordinate the scammers in the Telegram groups that this bot is used in. There are very many variants circulating around. Samples uploaded on VirusTotal over the years, and we also encountered the Neanderthals willingly sharing the code with one another themselves. It is written in PHP, so code modification is fairly easy to do. This leads to the fact that there are very many groups, at least dozens of them, and believe me, we've infiltrated quite a few of those, and each of them, as I mentioned, operates their slightly modified version of the bot. And probably the most interesting thing we learned is the clear hierarchy that exists in these groups. So some are responsible for scamming, some for money extraction, some for keeping the whole thing running, and so on. In fact, it almost looks like they are doing what a regular business would do. Besides what I already mentioned, there is an application form that you need to fill in as a newcomer in order to get hired. And once you do, a mentor or teacher may be assigned to you to teach you the ways of the scamming. The Neanderthal worker, which is the role assigned to the ones who actually do the scamming, doesn't really get any money until they ask for it. And they need to ask the administrator, and he then approves this based on their performance and pays the money out back to their account. The recruitment happens on underground forums, as you would imagine, and they are not really shy at all about mentioning that this is a clear scam operation. The goal is obvious, financial theft. Telekopye goes after credit card data, online banking credentials, or any other sensitive information that can be used to pursue that goal. They mainly do so through fake payment gates, which are generally well-made and without any significant grammatical or graphical issues. Their main targets are online marketplaces. Honestly, all over the world, they don't really care about the targeted country. And that speaks for the geographical targeting. Again, here we have two screenshots from the actual UI of the bot, translated to English, mostly. So on the left, you are choosing the targeted country that you would like to scam people in, and on the right, you choose the targeted institution in this case for Europe as a whole, as it is set in that specific group. As far as the scams go, there are two main scenarios called seller and buyer, and internally referred to as 1.0 and 2.0. The seller is pretty straightforward. The Neanderthal poses as a seller, creates a listing for a non-existent item, waits for someone to show interest, and then persuades them to pay. And if they agree, they are greeted with this fake payment gate that is supposed to be used for that. The buyer scenario is a little more complex. In this case, Neanderthal looks up a suitable mammoth to target, and they are the ones selling the item. And the Neanderthal shows interest and persuades the mammoth to pay. But why would a mammoth pay for something if they are the ones selling, right? Well, two approaches are abused here. It's either brand or courier platform or courier brand abuse. And let's see some examples of that. So this shows the buyer scenario where the Neanderthal will claim that they already paid, but they paid to the platform themselves. And the mammoth is supposed to receive the money from the platform by clicking this huge big button. The next step would be being greeted with the fake payment gate. Now, you may occasionally, in such scenarios, be asked to verify your card ownership by disclosing your balance on it, which of course only tells them how much they can scam you for. This is a similar thing, this time the courier brand abuse. I intentionally didn't translate this one. It targets a popular Czech courier service, and it just is to show you that they have quite well worked out the part where they localize it for different targets. In this case, again, the Neanderthal claims they cannot really receive the package face-to-face, but they need to use a courier service. And the next step would be, once again, to be greeted with the fake payment gate. Besides card details, as I hinted, they are already also looking for credentials to banking applications, and there are even forms for capturing MFA tokens if that comes into play. The internal culture of these groups is quite informal. It's full of memes and jokes. You can see some competitions to win some extra money if you are a very good scammer in some certain month. There is also ads for hiring developers and stuff like that. The interesting thing is that they have working hours, and working outside of working hours may very well get you banned. And if you look at the timestamp, this is likely done manually, so the administrators really like to keep a close hand on the operation. This all may give you the idea that this is a skiddy-only operation, though it's not always the case, as we will see shortly. So now that we covered Telekopye from the point of Neanderthals' perspective, let's look at how we can fight back. Near the end of last year, 2023, there was two joint operations by the Czech and Ukrainian police forces, dubbed RIP and Victory, and they targeted these groups which utilized Telekopye for exactly those scams. The police estimates that they gained about 5 million euros since 2021, and those groups were organized by middle-aged men from Eastern Europe and Asia, and they recruited basically people in difficult life situations, mostly as money mules, but also as the scammers themselves. They also posted on job portals, like looking for basically anyone who would like to make easy money. And they even recruited on universities, where they were looking for Eastern European students with technical skills who could handle the more tech-savvy part of the operation. And the police also shared with us that some of those perpetrators participated in a related call center or phishing, however you want to call it, operation. And they confessed that they were even confiscating passports and went as far as threatening family members of the hired scammers just to keep them in line. So just to show you that this has a different than skiddy aspect. There are a few screenshots or photos from the arrest operation. You can see that the HQ looks like any regular HQ. And yes, this is a photo of an actual whiteboard that was inside the HQ. And it is just to show you how deeply the term mammoth is rooted into these sort of scams. During the course of our research, we were in contact with several of the targeted marketplaces. And I just want to say that while there is still a lot of these scams going on, they are definitely not either unaware and defenseless. In fact, some of them went as far as to hunt for the phishing domains themselves. There are several things that they can do besides the proactive hunting. One thing that seems to prove very useful is user verification, though this usually comes with additional costs for the user, so not everyone is happy to do that. In fact, but you can see on the right that in one of the groups we infiltrated, this was implemented by Vinted, and it was enough to make the group stop targeting them. So it's at least somewhat effective. Displaying user information, so you have a clear indication of what you are talking with. This is done, for example, by Facebook Marketplace. And also, if there is the ability to do an on-platform chat, this gives them, once again, the power to monitor what is being sent in the messages, especially looking for links, as well. Links really shouldn't have any place in deciding a deal on any platform like this. And the main issue of this, and why it really falls to the users themselves, as Radek will talk about in a little while, is the quantity and the speed of those scams. So for example, we were in contact with one of the platforms. They have a few million users, and up to 1,000, mainly new users, were targeted each day. Now they were dealing with at least 14 different groups, focusing on them, and having to deal with more than 100 new domains on a daily basis, which was definitely not something that they were able to handle themselves. There's an interesting expansion lately, and that is accommodation offering services. It seems like a new favorite area of Telekopye groups. In this scenario, the mammoth receives an email urging them to pay or verify payment to their booked stay. The link will point to a very legitimate-looking website where there will be pre-filled information like check-in dates, check-out dates, the name of the person, the price, and so on. But why would anyone pay for a stay they didn't book? Well, the thing is, in this case, they really did book it. And the thing that the Neanderthals do here is they rely on stolen credentials of advertisers on such websites, and then they log into their account, and they target those people who either recently booked their stay or didn't book their stay yet, but showed interest. And those are the ones they will target, and based on the information in the advertiser's account, they will create something that will look very believable and increasing the chance to make the scam successful. In fact, over the summer holidays, this peaked quite a lot in ESET telemetry. And at this point, I'm going to give the word to Radek, who will walk you through the second part of the talk.
Right. Thank you, Jakub. So, as we already mentioned, Telekopye is operated by several different groups. Traditional way to create a phishing website is, let's say, fill out questionnaire that has around 15 questions. Some groups identify this as their bottleneck, so they created automated creation. This only works in the Scam 2.0, where the Neanderthal poses as a buyer. They basically just paste a listings URL to the Telekopye. Telekopye then parses everything and creates a phishing website based on this info. So here we can take a look how it looks in practice. Just before that, on the left, there's our Telekopye bot, and on the right, we have legitimate listing on Vinted website. So first of all, we have to start a bot. It's easy as that, just /start, create a new link. Create link, create new link. We want UK because this is Vinted co-UK. Vinted, obviously. And now we can just easily paste the URL there. If we have used the hand button there, it would go through the manual creation. Now the Telekopye is parsing the input, and voila, our phishing page is created. We can just simply now copy it, and just to show you that I'm not lying to you, visit this website. On the left, you'll see in a second that somebody has connected to the phishing website from Sweden. It's basically my VPN at this point. The mammoth then clicks on obtain money, of course, this is also reported, and this is the phishing, like the payment gate, the fake payment gate. Neanderthals work mostly exclusively via Telegram interface, where everything is reported. This includes the support chat on the bottom right of the phishing website. When Mammoth types a message, it is immediately sent to the Telegram and translated to Russian. If the Neanderthal tries to respond in Russian, there's a warning that the message contains Cyrillic letters, so it won't be like sent to the Mammoth. And if you finally send something in English, there are 2 check marks, like the message is sent and the message has been seen by the Mammoth. Now, let's see how this looks in practice. Again, on the left side, Telekopye, on the right side, phishing website. First of all, we can check whether the Mammoth is still on the website. We can see that, yeah, he is. So now our Mammoth sent a message, immediately translated. We just click on this little button, which is like respond. Try to type something in Russian, and as I said, this is like the error message, so no, it cannot go through. But basically English, totally fine. During our research, we have also discovered one interesting feature, and that is you can send from Telekopye bot to the phishing website an image. So here's the demonstration, just simple as that. Respond with image. It takes a while to process, and that's it. All right, another feature that we can see more and more often is some form of DDoS guard. This feature isn't implemented because there are so many mammoths that are trying to connect to our domains, but it's more of a defensive tool against other Telekopye groups. Telekopye groups don't shy away from sabotaging each other, including spamming each other's chat or launching DDoS attacks. Quite recently, we have observed a brand new feature in one of the groups that we monitor. They're experimenting with web interface. This web interface is much more user-friendly, so really good for unexperienced Neanderthals. In the time of this presentation, this is still under the development. So like the tab of parser, which is on top right, is not working. If you click on it, you will see an error message that says it's still under construction. And if you want to chat with the Mammoth via the support chat, you still have to go back to the Telegram bot. Now, we are going to look at some examples how to detect these kind of scam or phishing attacks and how to avoid them. First of all, let's take a look how to protect yourself on the platform. When buying from online marketplace that you have no experience with, try to be extra careful, as Neanderthals usually target less experienced users. Even if you are selling goods, it is really good idea to be careful. As Jakub said, there's the 2.0 scam scenario, or let's say the Neanderthal is the buyer. And truth be told, in the case of Telekopye, that seems to be the preferred type of scam. For a long time, it has been recommended to look for grammatical mistakes in conversation, product description. I do not really recommend solely relying on this, because even the scammers noticed this and started to use better and better translators to a point where it's practically almost impossible to discover any mistakes. Beware if somebody is trying to close the deal too quickly. For Neanderthals, time is money, obviously. So sooner they are finished with you, they can move to another target. Try to verify the person you're dealing with. Does this account have many negative reviews in recent days? The chances are the account is probably hijacked by these Neanderthals, although this is quite rare. whenever possible, insist on personal delivery. Neanderthals deliberately try to convince you that they live so far away and that sending goods is the only way to go. And last but not least, but let's say most important point here is never leave the platform, like if you can help it. Sometimes it isn't possible to stay on platform, as some platforms, mainly for legacy reasons, don't have chat integrated. But even platforms with integrated and well-moderated chat, you should be careful there if the other person tries to move you somewhere. Core of these attacks is sending victim a phishing link. And many of these integrated chats have checks and like downright like forbid sending it and flag the account of the Neanderthal. Most common examples how they are trying to like get you out of the platform are like when they say, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry, I have to go away from the PC. Could we please move to a different platform, like I don't know, WhatsApp?" So we can close the deal like today. Or they can even say something less suspicious, like, "Sorry, could you please send me your name, address, phone number, and so on, so I can fill in the delivery form for you." And then they will send, let's say, a phishing link via the SMS. And at this point, many mammoths easily like trust these officially looking SMS, even though they gave the phone number earlier that day. Oh, let's let's say you eventually found yourself on a phishing website. What should you do? How would you even notice it's a phishing website? You should always double check the URL. It isn't uncommon that scammers use subdomains, so it is quite a good idea to like double check whether it isn't only like the subdomain name. If you are a bit more tech savvy, you can inspect the certificate. Just bear in mind that inspecting the certificate does not mean only look for a green padlock symbol. You can also try to enter invalid data on this website and watch what happens. I would recommend this method only if you are a really experienced user, as like, let's say, unexperienced users, it may lead them to trust the phishing website even more. One big tell, if it's a regular payment gate or it's a Telekopye created phishing website, is that a regular payment gate would never ask you for your account balance. But the Telekopye phishing website almost always does. The reason is that this is the default behavior of the Telekopye bot generator itself. And let's be honest, many of the Neanderthals are too lazy to change it. Sadly, sometimes Neanderthal just wins and steals some money from you. What to do then? Well, first of all, you should report it to your bank. There might be a chance they can still stop the transaction. Also, it's a good idea to report it to a platform where you have encountered the scammer, as these platforms are really grateful for all these reports because they can adjust their own defenses. It should also be reported to police whenever there's a financial loss or data compromise or something around that. So, in conclusion, we have discovered toolkit that is responsible for a significant portion of online marketplace scams and dubbed it Telekopye. After infiltration of several of these groups, we were able to uncover how quick and easy is to set up everything and start scamming on different platforms. We have also observed the whole organization structure and how different groups adapt and expand their repertoire. And Honestly, if you should take anything from this lecture, it is that the awareness is the best defense. So please go and educate people around you, so this type of scam just becomes like unprofitable for the scammers, and they will basically stop doing it. So that's all from me and Jakub. If you are interested in more details, we have 2 publications already out. The first one is more on a technical side, and the second one is more of a culture of Telekopye groups themselves. Thank you.